Welcome to the New School Real Estate Pod. This is a podcast for real estate agents everywhere who are looking to start from scratch or relaunch their business. Our goal is to bring you an amazing guest every single episode who will share something that you can implement in your business today. Let's get into our newest episode. Welcome back, everybody, to our latest episode of New School Real Estate. As always, it is your co-host, award-winning sales representative, Rob Marsiglio, and I am joined by my co-host,
Gabriela Batista, the second award-winning real estate agent on the podcast, and we're ramped. And this, you said next episode. It's episode number 10 for real this time.
Boom, nice,
We're finally here. Third time's a charm. Ready to go. We have an awesome guest to have in the podcast this time.
We do. I'm excited about this one because, as we've touched on kind of a couple times through the show, I have really turned a lot of my focus into not just video but YouTube. And our guest today, I'd say over 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. I'd call that a pretty successful channel going right now. And it's still only just getting started. First video post, within the last couple of years at least, kind of thing. So I want to welcome Sam Saberikamareh to the show. How did I do there, Sam?
That was fantastic. That was better than some of my clients. So that's fantastic. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. And if people aren't watching, Sam is a confirmed award-winning sales representative as well. Sam, that's like our bar to entry on this. You have to be an award-winning sales representative. We can see it in the background there behind you. Tell us a little bit about that award over your shoulder.
Oh, no, it's just an award for last year's production in my brokerage. It's called the 100% Award. So, last year, my business somewhat took off, thankfully. And happy. And as I said to my clients, when I got that reward, I made a quick social media post and TikTok post on YouTube as well. I said that award is mostly due to my clients' trust and faith in my abilities. So, that's why I have it up there.
Congratulations. And so the episode can go on, Gabe. If you're happy with that, Sam has won an award, so we can continue the interview.
Hey, you summed it up well. We're not an award-winning podcast or award-winning, real estate agents without our clients. So there's got to be something to the people. So we're good to go. We're full steam ahead, bro.
Beautiful. We always start off, Sam, just with the same question for everybody. I want a little Cole's notes about your career, kind of what you do before real estate. How'd you get into the industry? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I got into real estate while I was going to university, studying for my undergraduate. And basically how I got introduced to it was, and is the case that my father was in real estate. And, while going through university, studying for my undergraduate degree, a couple of times he told me, hey, I need some help with some basic stuff, such as like printing flyers, folding flyers, delivering it to Canada Post and such. So as a summer job and while I was in university, I just basically helped him out at the office. In retrospect, it was really good because I got introduced to a real estate office at a very young age, right? Like 19, 20. Even I think maybe 18 at some point, actually. So that's how I got introduced to real estate. And, while I was going through my undergraduate degree in the first 2 years, I wasn't studying for my license, but eventually things fell into place where I thought, seeing the business and how it was something I was interested in trying and interested in doing. I definitely like the fact that, I got to help people. And of course, it's a lucrative business if you do it well as well, right? A lot of lines of work, if you notice, you either really get to help people, but it's not that lucrative, or it's very lucrative, but you don't really get to help people. And I think real estate is actually perfect in that sense, where, you get to meet people, create relationships, help them buy, help them sell, and make friends at the same time. Of course, if you're successful, it's a good line of work to be in.
What did the early days look like then? So what was the undergrad for first off? Was it real estate related or no?
No, it was a philosophy.
Philosophy, beautiful.
Yeah.
Amazing. So then helping dad out with the flyers, all that admin stuff, that was for a few years, and then you get licensed. What year were you officially licensed then?
I was officially licensed in 2017.
2017. And you started trading right out of the hop? Were you still working with your dad at the
time?
No,
so basically in 2017, I was still doing university. I had a year, so I graduated about a year late because I started my undergrad. I started studying for my license while at university, so that kind of spread me out a little thin. But I started part-time. Just doing leases. And, my first couple of deals were leases of my friends, friends, my university friends from high school. And that's how I started, part-time.
How are you getting those leads in? You said they were friendships mostly, but like, what were you doing early days in terms of getting business?
So frankly, it was just complete luck in early days. Like for instance, my very first lease deal was one of my close friends who knew I had my license. He said, "I'm looking for something downtown to rent with my girlfriend. Can you help me?" And it was just as simple. The next one was just another. It was my fiance's friend who also knew I had a license. And then slowly and steadily, the word got around through referrals as well. And that's how a lot of my business to this day, frankly, is a lot of referrals and a lot of, now it's a bit different actually, but it's still referral heavy, but in the beginning it was 100% referrals.
So there was no other kind of lead gen strategies getting into it before YouTube kind of started. So how did that come about, YouTube? What was the introduction to YouTube for you? Was it something you were kind of curious of doing for a while? What was the main entry point for you to start video in general?
Yeah, so it's interesting because, so as I said, most of my business was referrals, but I really, once I wanted to get serious about the business, I said, okay, I have to know what I'm talking about. So, and early on, I determined that one of my main value propositions, what I was going to provide people, the reason that people would need to work with me as opposed to, 60,000 other people, was knowing the market, client service, and really just helping clients make proper decisions. And in having to know the market, you have to study the market, right? So at the same time, I said to myself, well, while I'm sitting here studying market trends, market stats, MOI, the average sold prices in Mississauga or semi-detached prices in Richmond Hill, other people are out there door knocking and cold calling. So I might as well, this information I'm getting, I might as well do something with it. So I said, okay, I think it's a good idea as a motivational tool if I had to put out a video every week. And in a sense, that's how I got not only motivated, but started doing videos on YouTube. It was purely a selfish exercise to motivate me. So that was how it started.
That's really cool because it kind of forces you to understand the market, and by doing these things, you're not only benefiting yourself, but you're benefiting clients or future clients and getting that traction there. It really forces you too, because you want to put good content out there. So by putting good content out there, you got to do your research. You're forced at a higher standard, which is something that like I'm slowly kind of getting into content creation as well, and that's like you're kind of forced to learn certain things that you didn't learn in the past. But it puts you a bit on a pedestal, and it really sets you on a different level.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, it forces you to know what you're talking about and stay sharp. It helps you stay sharp for sure.
So sorry to cut in there, but is that where the ideas are coming from for the videos then, Sam? Like, I know it's not just stats on your channel. You're doing a lot of kind of tips for condo buyers, things you need to have in an offer in this market. Like more recently, I know it didn't start necessarily like that. Like you look like, again, everybody's channel starts somewhere. And it's awesome. You turn the camera on and you just went for it, right? And even in the early days, I was watching some older videos of yours. It's like, guys, I'm gonna have a new camera next week, or I've got new lighting, blah, blah, all that stuff. But just tell me about kind of the ideas, where you're getting the ideas from, all that stuff right now.
Yeah, those older videos are quite embarrassing because I don't think I understood what framing was. Half of the frame was my face. I'm surprised that people actually continue to watch. But sorry, your question was about how did the content evolve, I guess? Is that what?
Yeah, I guess it's like the evolution of it. Like, where were you getting ideas from? Where are you pulling ideas from for your videos now? Like, what does that look like?
It's a combination, to be very honest with you. It's a combination of this point, what I want to talk about and what's going to get a certain amount of exposure, right? There are a lot of things I would love to discuss. Like one video I want to do is just literally go through the financing condition word by word. But that's not going to get a lot of exposure. So it's frankly at this point, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's about getting the views, but at the same time, not at a cost where I'm not providing any quality content, right? So I guess before I decide to make a video, the first question is, what value is this providing? What is it teaching someone? What can someone learn from this? And then the more secondary question is, how much exposure is it going to get? Like, what is the, is it appealing to the common viewer? So those are the, I guess, two main questions I first ask. At the beginning, it wasn't like that, to be very frank with you. But now it's gone to a certain point where I want to, of course, keep increasing the size of my audience and clients and such. That's not to say that I'm, there's a lot of things I still do not do that I know if I do for a fact, I'm going to get way more views. There's a lot of stuff I don't do, but that's definitely a consideration as well. Like dancing on TikTok and stuff, you mean? Or? No, for sure. Dancing on TikTok, I would get way more views. On YouTube, I don't judge people who do it. I certainly do not judge people who do it. And I know a lot of agents who make real estate YouTube videos, two of them in particular that I know I've spoken to, they're good agents. But I still have not come to grips with the fact that I need to make like shocked faces on YouTube to get more views. And I do custom thumbnails, but for some reason, that's the line I'm not comfortable enough to cross, where I'm talking about how the market is crashing every week, and I have like explosions, or like I have like the 10 York behind me exploding, I don't think I can, I haven't done that yet. I don't think I'll do that. But at the same time, I'm looking to get views. So
yeah, it's funny because when you said that, I'm looking at Rob's page right now, and I see a giant explosion on his page.
Hey, baby.
Hey, no, and that's no shot at Rob. I said I know a lot.
Shoot shots.
I know a lot of agents like Tom Story on YouTube. He's a good agent. Like, I've spoken to him. He's a good agent. From what I've seen, he gives good information. He does some of those thumbnails. Yeah, so it's not a judgmental thing at all. Yeah.
Well, and I didn't take it as a judgment because you said a couple of good agents, and I'm not there yet, Sam. I'm award. No, I'm kidding. I'm just joking. I want to talk, like you're touching on thumbnails, and I think I've realized though what an important part that is, and your thumbnails have definitely improved from kind of a screen grab of just the video early days to putting a little more production over it. Can you talk to me about the production process of a video from start to finish for you, kind of thing? How long is it taking you to put one of these videos together? What does that look like with the editing process, all that stuff?
So different videos have different lengths. The longest videos in terms of pre-production, production, and getting it published are probably the Toronto condo building reviews, because I actually sit down and do a lot of in-depth research for that. Like, I go through half a decade of market stats. I really try to get to know the building. The more just market stats stuff, they pretty much start with an empty Google Doc or a Google Sheets page. It's as simple as, hey, I really want to know what's happening with 2 bedrooms in downtown. Let me do the research. I do the research. Let me make a video about it. And then the shooting is usually 20 minutes to 30 minutes of raw footage. Maybe even not that long, but 20 to 30. And then editing usually takes, depending on how busy the schedule is, it takes on an hour and a half to maybe 3 hours to edit.
Yeah. So in terms of, I'm going through your page now. And actually, by the way, love these thumbnails. You don't need no shock faces to get views. They look really good. When was that change for you in terms of starting just to put content out there for the sake of putting content? I looked early on. You were consistently doing 2 videos a week, and you were consistent, very, very consistent throughout. At what point did you start seeing some sort of return on that? The one thing that I always talk to Rob about is early on when building content and building a lot of content consistency, there definitely is a dry period where you're bringing content out, but you're not seeing returns. At what point were you comfortable with the idea that 2 videos a week was going to be my only lead gen strategy, and you can rely on that as a business model? Was there a certain amount of time that you found it took to get results? I hear a lot of people mention 6 months. What was your experience starting out when it came to conversion? Well,
getting results in terms of views, or getting results in terms of generating business from it? Those are 2 separate things, right?
Well, that's a good conversation too, because I feel like they're probably 2 different things. Was your goal early on just to get views, or was it to convert business out of it? What was the goal when you
No,
started?
as I said, the goal initially was to motivate myself to know the market, but eventually, yeah, I wanted to get views and then generate business. So let me answer that question, I guess, in two parts then.
Yeah.
To first generate views to a decent degree, given the Toronto real estate market, it's a niche topic. It's a very niche topic, but it probably took me, I would probably have to say, a year to start generating views. In terms of generating business, I really started generating business from those views. I would probably have to say late 2020, early 2021. That's where I really started generating business from YouTube, which I believe I started posting consistently maybe early 2020 or maybe late 2019. I don't completely recall, to be very honest with you. So time kind of flies, but I guess and there's a lot of luck involved as well. You know, it's not just as simple as posting consistently, although that's important, and it's also important to provide value as well, but there's a lot of luck involved too.
Tell me about the luck component. What do you mean by that?
Well, you know, I mean, not just about YouTube, but in real estate, like my first ever purchase deal when I bought something, not lease, was just a guy who wanted to get in touch with a different Sam and accidentally got in touch with me. But I have since buying with that person, that was the first deal. I've done 3 deals with that person since then. So that's when people say, hey, luck is important, but you have to take advantage of luck, right? If I didn't perform well, if I didn't do my job properly or provided subpar service, I would have just gotten lucky that one time on the deal. But since then, he's become a permanent client of mine, right? But so that's in terms of the business side. In terms of YouTube, luck in terms of, for instance, I would probably have to say, for some reason, one day I just decided to talk about what was news oriented as opposed to more evergreen content, because as Rob noticed, my initial content was very much so evergreen, like 5 things landlords should do or 5 things tenants should not do. Evergreen, something you can watch in 2025 or 2015, right? But I just one day said, I just want to make a video about this news item, and I started to see that actually started to perform better. So yeah, I noticed it performed better. I started doing it. So I guess there's intentionality involved, but as to why that day I decided to make a video about Airbnb regulations, there was no particular reasons. I just decided, and that's luck.
Did that bring the other views up to other videos though? Like in terms of like that news, that like hot news item, and then you start seeing an uptick in future stuff you do because that person, like, Sam's personality on video?
Not initially, and to this day, it's probably very minuscule, to be honest with you. But I haven't really looked at the analytics that in depth to be able to confidently answer that, but not initially for sure. Now, yeah, there is a little, people go back to see the more evergreen stuff. Yeah, there's a little trickle down effect for sure.
And then, so how does business look nowadays in terms of, you've established a pretty strong online presence, and we'll eventually get to TikTok there, but you developed this really good, strong YouTube page where you're very easily searchable online. What does that kind of do for your business? Do you find a lot of your new business is kind of cold entries? Do you find it's still really referral heavy because you've met the right people through YouTube? How does it look now?
So now it's a combination of, yes, my online presence is generating leads and people are coming to me and I'm speaking to people on a daily basis. And then, yes, and referrals as well. I would probably have to say it's still a 60-40 split between referrals and online, right? 60% referrals, 40%, and repeats as well, not just referrals, but repeats. Okay. 60-40 split. So that's what my business looks like nowadays. It's a lot of people who had worked with me in the past, were satisfied, want to work with me again, or they know their sister wants to, like this year. I sold a condo for a guy in Yonge and Shepherd area. He was very satisfied about the price I was able to get for his property. He said, hey, by the way, one day he called me out of nowhere. He said, my sister wants to see something. And I started working with his sister for 3 months, and I bought his sister something in Etobicoke. So that's the referral part. The online part is a lot of people, hey, I saw your video on this. I have some questions for you. I saw your TikTok on this. I have some questions for you. I'm interested in buying. Can you help me? What should I do? So that's, I could get into more details if you guys want, but that's more the general. Yeah.
And what's curious about that is I feel like the referral party business actually is benefited also by YouTube because it becomes you're much easily referable because you have a strong online presence. If I'm going to talk to my sister and she wants to go buy a condo, instead of having a cold entry, I can refer to your videos you have or your YouTube page. And there's already that kind of warm feeling between new referrals of family and friends. So I think, even indirectly, your YouTube page kind of helps that kind of warm conversation start up.
That's a very good observation, and for sure. And that's one of the benefits of having a strong online presence in terms of YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, which is when I'm meeting with sellers at listing appointments, I say, look, my body of work is available online. So I'm not a mysterious figure where you have to, what type of work ethic I have, what type of attention to detail I have. All that, my resume is completely available online. You can go through the videos, see the effort I put in, just the work I put into my craft is available. So that's a very good observation on your part because it really helps, even with complete strangers, let alone referrals.
We know what the referrals, the warm lead, there's very little competition in that space, right? Like sometimes, you'll get a referral, it's like they're talking to a few agents, want to put them in touch with you as well, but most of the time they're ready to go with you. Do you remember your first YouTube lead though, and what that looked like, the first one that you actually helped secure or sell a property for?
Yeah, I do.
What was that feeling like, Sam? Like, was it like, is this a joke kind of thing? Like, what would you think?
Well, it wasn't my first lead. There was a lot of people who got in touch with me where it didn't really go anywhere because something you'll find out, or you guys maybe have already found out, which is a lot of people get in touch with you, but there's a lot of people who are not serious or, it just doesn't lead anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So the first one, I guess, I never took the moment that, oh, wow, this came to fruition type of thing. After what was happening, I'm like, okay, wow, okay, this led to a transaction. This is something serious. I should focus my efforts into this field way more. But there's a lot of times, interestingly, Rob, where I was like kind of tired or not motivated, and then some person would just email me asking a question, and that would actually be like, oh, okay, this is going somewhere. People are just getting in touch with me. So that was more motivating sometimes in the deals. But yeah, I guess I remember being very, very satisfied after it happened, after it closed, because I'm never happy before it closes.
No, I'm always sweating to some degree, right up until closing for sure too.
Yeah.
So let's jump into Rob coming off any TikTok at this point, because that's been a new platform that we've been talking about on the podcast a lot. We've been exploring a lot. It's new to a lot of people. And where did that start for you? Because it's obviously a different type of video versus long, because most of your YouTube stuff is long form content. And when we get to TikTok, it's all short form stuff. How did that start for you? How did that complement the content you're already doing? And how did that change your business when it came to social media?
Well, in terms of the content on TikTok, I guess I started posting just when I went through properties, just a quick clip of the property, what I was showing, what I was showing to buyers, and that didn't get much traction. And it was honestly as simple as like, I knew TikTok was the new platform. I knew the type of content I'm doing is not that it's going away, but it's just long form, and there's more people interested in short form content nowadays. So I knew I had to start posting on TikTok, but I just didn't know how, because my style, as you probably can tell from these long-winded answers, is more long form content. But but I guess what really happened was, once again, luck, man. I was looking at 36 Lisgar for a condo building review, and I said, this is a really bad condo. So I'm like, well, I'll just make a TikTok talking about why I think it's a bad condo. And I kid you not, as I made the TikTok, I went to watch I went to watch a movie with my fiance and my mother-in-law. My phone was off. I come out, the TikTok has 125,000 views. And I'm like, well, this is crazy. So when I say it's luck, that really, my following on TikTok, and by the way, I don't have a big following. There's a lot of people who have way larger followings than me. You've interviewed, I forgot that girl, but she has a pretty big following. She has like 70K following. I have like 5,000 right now. But I went from, I think, like 94 to 4,000 because of that one TikTok, right? And I had to take it down because 36 ended up getting 500,000 views, and they got in touch with my broker of record, and they tried to sue me. They tried to sue me, so I had to take it down. Which it's yeah, I took it down. Let's say.
Did you say "in my opinion" in that video though, or no?
I did say in my opinion, but you know, I just didn't want to deal with it.
No.
I don't think they could have done anything because everything I said was true. So, but that just what started it. And you know, I haven't received any strong deals from TikTok yet, but I know it's going to go somewhere because I've been down this path before. I have been down this path before with YouTube, so I know it's heading somewhere. And how it's affected my contact, I guess, to answer that question is, it's made me better on YouTube actually, because it's made me more precise. Because for TikTok, you have to be precise to the point. Just do the bold text, right? No preamble, no postamble. So for YouTube, it's made me better and precise and more efficient in terms of the message I'm trying to convey.
Is there a lot of planning that goes into, I'm going to talk about, you know, this and this, or is it, I have a goal to do 2 TikToks a day or 1 a day kind of thing? Like what does the TikTok planning look like? I know you're shooting some of them in your car, you're shooting some of them in your office.
That's the beauty of TikTok. It's really, if you know what you're talking about, you don't have to do homework. It's just quick. You just do it, you get it done with, you edit it, you post it, right? In terms of planning, I did say to myself, I'm going to do 3 a day, because if you've been on TikTok, every 5 videos is how to grow on TikTok. So no one actually tells you to make good content. They just tell you to post a lot. So I post a lot, I posted a lot, but you know, at some point I started to plateau. So now I just post as I want to, you know.
That's real good. So the last question, well, not last question, how does that, in terms of once you get, you know, your contacts that you're talking to, you mentioned a lot of your clients, it doesn't go anywhere, but a lot of the conversations don't go anywhere initially. Do you tend to have like a database to track that type of stuff? Are you tracking those conversations you're having? Are you keeping them through consistent follow-up? Are you repurposing YouTube content in email format? Is there a second purpose to a lot of content that you're making? Because a lot of the stuff I've been doing recently has, you know, you post things to YouTube, posting to TikTok, but the sole purpose is to get directly to your clients. So through email newsletters, through monthly, weekly content updates. Is that something that you've been trying doing, or have, you know, thought of exploring?
So yeah, so in terms of newsletter, I direct, there's a link in for the newsletter, my newsletter in every YouTube description box. In terms of the leads that I get, usually I have, you know, there is never a one system, right? But what I've tried to do is always get them face to face, because if someone's not willing to meet you face to face, I have a hard time to believe that they're serious. Now, there are exceptions to that. Like, for instance, my first very deal from YouTube, I met the guy at the showing. I didn't meet him at the office. And there's a certain degree that I might be scaring people away. There's no doubt about that, because now I just say, hey, my system is happy to help you, but we need to meet, because I'm old fashioned like that, right? I need to see who I'm working with and see if it's a good fit. And there's no doubt I scare people away. But I rather do that as opposed to, you know, not know if they're serious, send follow-up emails, answer their questions, and doesn't go anywhere, because that's just frankly a waste of my time. And not to say that if I'm putting that effort, you have to buy or sell. It's just we have to be in touch and we have to be on the same page. I can put in that effort for you to sell in 2 years. I just need to know that we are going to have some sort of a concrete relationship, as opposed to, you know, a lot of people get in touch with you, ask you for a lot of information, you send them information, they ghost you, they don't answer you back, right? So I try to get them to meet face to face to see if they're serious. And yeah, that's what I try to do.
So now actually for the last question, Sam that was the second last question there, but we always ask everybody to, you're starting new in the business today, kind of with everything you've learned to this point, how would you start as a new agent to kind of ramp up your success to where you are, maybe in 2 years, as opposed to how many years it's taken you to actually get here?
So what I would definitely do is something I made the mistake of initially not doing, and I see a lot of new agents make this mistake, right? Because I speak to a lot of newer agents, whether they're 20, 25, or 40. I speak to a lot of them, and which is what a lot of new agents do is and you probably know this, Rob, I've talked about this before, they do the entire thing completely backwards, opposite. They get into the business, they start doing these long-term goal setting things where this is how much I want to produce, this is how many transactions I want to have, this is going to be the area I door knock, this is going to be the area I cold call. It's all planning of how many deals, how much business you want to do, how much commission you want to produce. And it's almost all the cherry without the actual cake, because what you have to actually first do is establish what your value is to not only a society, but to the business. Why should people work with you? Is it the fact, and it doesn't have to be one of these things, it can be a combination of these things. But for instance, is it the fact that you're a great negotiator? Is it the fact that you have a vast network of connections, overseas builders or financiers? Is it the fact that you're a great marketer? Is it the fact that you know the market better than anyone else in terms of market stats and trends? Is it the fact that, for instance, you provide the best client service? Or is it a combination of these things? First, I would tell myself and other agents, establish what your value is, and then do the long-term goal setting of, this is how many times I'm going to door knock, this is how many deals I'm going to do, this is the type of property I want to sell. Because that's the proper way, not the way most people do it, which is completely backwards. So establish your value first and then do the goal setting.
No, I like it because it's something that, I think a lot of people kind of see a really fruitful, business that, I want to make this amount of money, and they don't realize kind of the extent that this business kind of takes to build. And it's not just about kind of, meeting people is very, very important, but what's going to make you different? Like you said, there's 60,000 plus, there's only so much that one person can do versus other people. So you want to be.
Exactly. And you know what? The question, I guess, in another way is you have to answer is, why would you work with yourself? Like, what about you says that I should work with you? Like, why should I work with you? That's the question you have to answer for yourself. And it doesn't have to set you apart from, it doesn't have to set you apart from all 60,000 other agents. It just has to set you apart from 50,000 of them or 45,000 of them. Because if you're top 10,000 agents, that is better than a lot of people, right? And that's all you have to clear. And then you can obviously, if you want, become better and bigger, but it just has to, what makes you different? That's the question, the first question any agent should answer.
Beautiful. Well, that was a good way to wrap it up. A lot of words of wisdom, and we appreciate you on the podcast a ton. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll talk soon as always. Stay productive and take care, guys. And that's the end of our episode of New School Real Estate. Thank you for tuning in and listening to all the great value that our guests had to provide today. Hopefully you can take away one thing from what we spoke about and apply it to your business and truly make it new school. If you are a new or growing agent looking for some supports to grow your real estate business, feel free to reach out to Robert or myself on social media. We'd be happy to have a conversation. But until next time, make it a day and stay busy, my friends.